Good
You
luck.
guys both hovering over the play button.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, on go in 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck. All right, chat, here we go.
All right, chat, here we go. It's game 1, Mathis versus Daniel. Let's get started here. Mathis already making his way very quickly, making a lot of good progress there. Both players, though, dying pretty much in the exact same spot. But you can see already the difficulty of this map showing. I mean, players are already making it through first objectives. They're actually dying in almost the exact same way, too. That's very interesting. Both players taking death at the same point. We can't really assign a lead just yet because both players kind of struggling on this this one jump here. But Dan will be the first one to take a sizable lead here, getting over that jump. And he'll take his first lead of the day here. As you can see, both players kind of struggling with the momentum here. This jump is a little tricky. You can make it in one swoop, but it's a bit that you want to kind of move to the left side, get some momentum, and then jump over it. As you can see, if you try to take it in one go, you hit a snag and you can clip that saw there. If you remember the clear video, I kind of jumped to the left, then to the right, and yeah, both players pretty much at the exact same spot here. I think this is a testament to how close these matchups will be today. Dan making even more progress, but hitting the next saw over, and Mathis, he makes the same progress as well. We're basically tied here, but we'll keep the lead with Dan, as both players pretty much neck and neck in this start. We'll see if either of them can make any kind of breakaway here. I think definitely someone will break away if they can get this third jump here a bit more consistently. Both players kind of struggling on it still. Dan making some good time over it, but Mathis instantly taking the lead, getting over to the spiny section. And both players just bouncing back and forth in front of each other. Let's take a listen in to Dan to start, see how he's feeling, as he might take another lead here.
Sit yourself down.
Taking his time on this jump, wants to get it perfectly, but doesn't quite make it.
How are we gonna do that? How are we gonna do that one? We gotta figure out. Put you in the mind of the madness. Feel good? Feels great. Momentum-based gamers. I don't have the answer there. Maybe we gotta get through on the upper. Momentum-based. Let it fly, kid. Okay, we can let. When we let it fly, that's when we're most dangerous. Spin betwixt. It's not a baby or a daddy. It's a mid-spin. I got you. Here we go, kids. Here we go.
Mathis making a little bit more progress there. Also pulling up the switch menu. Dan, though, basically tying it up here.
Doesn't matter how far Mathis is. Okay, move the needle, ladies and gentlemen.
Both players still neck and neck, understanding the mid jumps in front of them.
Gotta go. Needle moved, ladies and gentlemen. Needle has been moved.
Let's listen in on Mathis as he's also making the same amount of progress here. Struggling with these mid jumps. Daniel has a chance to take a lead here, but not getting the mid jump, doing a full jump. Close though, still close, essentially tied here. As both players struggling to get the concept of a mid jump here.
Same spot, or is he already ahead?
Mathis trying to see where Dan is by asking his chat. But he'll be happy to know that they're both essentially tied right now.
It's just that tight ass. It's just that tight ass squeeze.
Interesting wording there, but
It's a high jump.
still struggling. It's 2 mid jumps. You basically just need to hit the button and let go. Not super quickly, but you don't want to hold it. If you hold jump, you will hit the top of the saw.
Thank you for the gifted sub.
And that's kind of that's the issue both players are having right now, is they're struggling with figuring that out. I think they're so you see Mathis did a kind of mid-low jump there, but still mostly a mid-jump, just didn't get the right momentum. That's what you have to do moving forward. If you go too high, you hit the top saw, too low, you hit the bottom saw. And I think we're seeing both players kind of struggling with that. Dan, still trying to figure it out. He has, the height kind of right, but the momentum is killing him there. And you can benefit from going quickly here. If you get kind of a good groove, you can go pretty quickly. But both players, again, essentially tied here. Mathis still, I think, with a technical lead, but it's virtually tied here. But now Mathis, again, he did get a little bit further that time, but still died at the same saw. I think once we see both players kind of grasp this mid-jump, we'll see some progress from both of them. But an early surprise here, I think that both players are kind of stuck here. I would expect one of them to get this a bit more quickly, but Mid jumps are if you don't know mid jumps, if you haven't played a lot of Mario Maker, they're kind of a struggle to kind of get. The timing is a bit awkward. Dan, again, he gets that first mid jump. That's the idea, but he can't seem to get it through the second pillar. Math is still struggling with that first one. I'd say Dan seems a bit better here, but it's so close it really doesn't matter. Mathis seems to be taking a few more deaths on the first jump. Dan making some good progress here, but again, he can't see. He keeps doing a long or a high jump there, and it's that light tap you need. You need to give the button a nice tap, but not too hard, or you will full jump. Mathis just not quite getting the right angle in on the spiny there, clipping the saw. And we have a bit of a double muncher scenario here, a bit of a surprising one early, but since both players are struggling with it, it's not going to create any kind of significant lead for one player or the other. Dan accidentally doing a regular jump onto the thwomps. And it's interesting that I think both players were taking their time at the start, but now they're kind of going momentum-based. Dan with a chance here. Needs to do that mid-jump. Oh, just slightly too high. You can see he kind of felt like he had it there. Again, I feel like overall, Dan is actually the one making the better progress here, but he just can't seem to get over that second saw. We'll listen in on him again here as he might make a breakthrough any moment. But Mathis, right on his heels.
On Netflix.
Mathis with a chance here, but clips the saw.
Tap the jump button. Okay, here we go. We got the smirk of good luck. We can't waste it. All right.
Both players very much struggling with this spiny section.
There we go. We did not get the smirk of good luck. That's okay.
Good mid jump there from Dan. One more to go. Can he get it? He's got it. He's got progress. Big progress from Dan. He's still going. And now a big lead for Dan.
Oh, we gotta be in the lead now, ladies and
He
gentlemen.
absolutely is, but Mathis close behind, still can't quite get it.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Austin. Oh, I see. We've seen the Matrix. There was some fur in there.
Can he repeat it, though? It is good progress from Dan, but it's about repetition.
All right.
He needs to be able to repeat that performance in order to make progress later on.
Microwave strats. Okay, we got a hardy lead. Can't worry about the lead.
And now we'll see if Mathis can hopefully pull this back in. He needs to get this mid jump, but he can't quite get it.
But it just... Dan launched himself? What do you mean? That doesn't mean much. That could mean anything.
Stronger jumps from Mathis here. He's made it over now. He's making the same progress as Dan. Can he take the lead by getting in here? He can. Mathis with the lead, but gets a bit too impatient. But he takes the lead right back. Both players very close now, but this is where consistency is key. Whoever gets this first section more consistency will start to make more progress overall. As we're having a bit of a stream issue on Dan's side. I don't know if his stream went offline, but we'll try to get that back as quickly as possible. We'll see if we can refresh the stream real quick here. Give me one moment. Not missing too much as he is taking some deaths. And yeah, that was Rav on his part. But we're back. And again, both players trying to see if they can get this section a bit more consistent. Both still struggling within it. And that's the issue, is that in order to see the later parts of this section, they're going to need to be able to get this part down, because the more deaths you have here, the less often you're going to see that next section. Dan taking his time, but taking your time makes it a bit more difficult. If you keep your momentum like Mathis just did there, if you keep your momentum, it actually makes the jumps a bit easier to do, as long as you don't do any long jumps or short jumps. So taking your time here might actually be a bit punishing, depending on how accurate you are with your jumps. And you can see Mathis again still getting that momentum. Dan as well, doing well, but just slightly too high. Both players still struggling with the mid jump. And fast forward to the last part of the level, the last jump. That is a mid jump at full speed as well. So we could very easily see both players, if they get that far, dying to that as well. Good progress. Consistency from Mathis here now, as he is making it a bit further. He's on to the final spiny jump here. See if he can get it. He's taking his time. And, oh, just clips the saw. A slight clip of the saw. Dan. Again, the right idea, but just not the right execution. As let's go ahead and listen in on Mathis here, as he seems to be making the best progress right now.
I got farther the last time, chat. Appreciate the compliments.
Good progress again from Mathis. Consistency building for him. That is huge. Look at the confidence here. And now, down comes the parachute saw. Or excuse me, parachute thwomp. But he's got it.
A little bit further.
Dan making some progress again now, too. Let's see if he can move the needle. No, he does take a death. But this is looking very good for Mathis as he's starting to become more consistent with this first objective and making more progress and extending his lead. We'll take a listen on Daniel here, who needs to make some progress to not fall too behind.
You got tippies, you got hindrance.
Oh, we got the high-pitched twitch. There we go. Fixed it.
Posture check and
Mathis making big progress. Still can't quite get that jump. Not enough momentum to the right there.
How was your posture? Here we go. Tippy, tippy, tippy.
Good consistency from Dan now, too, though.
Let it rip, kid.
Oh, he's just not a bit shaky on that spiny, though. Mathis not struggling with it.
Slow down.
But both players starting to show some understanding of the map.
Rare air, it feels a little bit rare.
Mathis still looking stronger. Mathis just getting very far each time. Still struggling with these later objectives, but he's building that consistency later on in the section. Well, Dane's still focusing on that first section.
Higher O2 count. You just got to get used to it up here. It's like hitting dingers in Colorado. You got to let the ball sail a little bit. You got to get used to the air. Here we go.
Mathis having the issue. He's gonna run off into the lava more times than is comfortable at the start here.
We're not used to the rare air.
But now both players
let's get some rare air here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hitting a bit of regression here pretty early on, as we're now 12.5 minutes in. And you can see they're kind of dying to that objective that they learned, and this is just what happens. I've said it every week, and every week it's been the same. Mathis getting with a saw blade that has blocks on that part of it. You can't actually stand on the blocks. It's almost pixel perfect, so it doesn't really happen that often, but it can kind of mess you up if you hit it just perfectly. But both players still close enough that either one can take this game. No one's really taken a significant lead, but again, Mathis making more progress more often, which is what we want to see here on this level. Another attempt here on the parachute thwomp, but just doesn't quite get it. He seems to be struggling with the timing of it. Needs to let the parachute sink a bit lower before he takes the jump. Dan, good progress again. Let's see if he can extend his furthest progress by getting past this spiny. It's a tight jump, but it's not too tight, so just with a little bit of patience, he might be able to get it here. But he's taking a lot of time on this jump, and you can see Mathis trying to get right back to that point. Dan needs to not waste too much time here. I mean, this is a lot of time down. It may seem like only a few seconds, but this matters in a race like this. I can see Mathis already making his way. He's caught up to Dan now in progress, and he still took the death. Got to be careful. If you're going to take that kind of time, you need to try to understand the objective better. Otherwise, it's time wasted. But we're still close enough. Both players only one obstacle away from each other in progress. Mathis with the slight lead, but both players still taking early deaths again. And it seems like this spiny section is more challenging than it originally looked when watching the clear check video. It seems like this jump has kind of gotten into the head of both players, as they both are pretty much in sync here. Look at this, but Mathis took the jump a bit faster than Dan. And you can see taking extra jumps like that overall kind of lowers your time. Unless it makes you a lot more consistent, it might not necessarily be worth it as Dan. Let's see, can he make progress here?
Okay.
He has the chance to move his own needle here and maybe tie it up.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Still taking a lot of time on this jump. He's really psyching himself out here. Oh no! That's what happens.
All right, we just gotta let it go, man.
He knows though. Mathis again with a chance to make progress here.
That was a stand clear. We had some of the.
Still can't seem to do it.
God, that one now, like going up. I feel like I was going too late before, but now I feel like I'm going too early. Is it just as he hits the lava, I wonder?
He's definitely going too early on that jump.
Nope, dead. I was too far to the left when I started going right, and by the time I realized it, I was too far to the right to reverse my momentum enough.
It's good to analyze your own play like Mathis is doing here. It can help you in the long run on some of these more difficult parts. Really good progress from Mathis here, making it right back to the parachute swamp. And he's made more progress, but he flies
I
off.
the needle technically. We put ourselves a little further ahead.
Mathis does extend his lead, and he is now one jump away, or one section away from the first checkpoint. Dan needs to have a burst of confidence here, a burst of progress to keep up.
Progress, I like it.
Mathis can easily start to jump ahead very quickly here if Dan can't make more progress. Both players almost in sync here. Can Dan? He still can't make this jump. He is struggling with the precision of that spiny jump, whereas Mathis doesn't seem to really struggle with it at all. And again, Dan losing his momentum, costing him a death. Mathis doing pretty much the same. But with no player at checkpoint 1, both are still in the running, but Mathis with the definite lead here. He's frustrated with that one. You can tell. Just missed it by a hair. He knows he shouldn't be dying there anymore. Both players in sync again, but Dan the one taking the early death, but Mathis follows him right up. And we've hit another mini pocket of regression. Surprisingly, no player at the first checkpoint almost 20 minutes in. I think the precision of this map is getting to both players. Dan with another chance at progress, but dies before even making it to the spiny jump. Both players have the capability. Mathis again with a chance here. But another death on that spiny. And it's tough. It's tough for both players. I think you can tell both are a little bit frustrated with their progress. They know this map is easy. And I think they can tell by the jumps and the progress they've made already that that the map is easy. So it's important to not get frustrated with progress right now, because that frustration can absolutely cost you many deaths. As Mathis again with a chance here. Let's see if he can get this jump again. No, goes much too early and misses the thwomp entirely anyway. Dan with chance for progress. He's got it.
Okay, kid. Uncle
Will he be able to
Uncle
figure the
Mo.
thwomp out?
Uncle Mo.
He just needs to drop down on it here to see that the other thwomp will fall. He's piecing it together. Will he go? He won't go, and he'll miss his timing.
Okay.
Did he understand it?
All right. Uncle Mo.
Mathis making progress as well.
Uncle Mo. Oh, thank you guys for bringing Uncle Mo out, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Mo.
Dan is talking about, I'll translate for you guys. Dan is talking about momentum. He's calling it Uncle Mo, but that does mean
I'm telling
momentum.
you, we got the hops down. We got the hops and barley. We've got the curds and whey. We've got the soft, hard. We've got the hard and wet dog food. It's all there, ladies and gentlemen. Now we just got to put it all together.
And let's see if he can put it all together. Not sure if he realized he was supposed to jump on that thwomp, the falling parachute thwomp. We'll see if he can get it, as both players kind of building their consistency here, but Dan's still struggling with this jump. You can see how Mathis handles it very easily here. But again, taking
I'm
that one
wondering
too early.
If I go early, if I can jump onto the ledge and make it up from that.
I'm sure we'll have a checkpoint soon here, at least maybe for Mathis. We'll see if he can one-shot the falling thwomps.
Questionable. Questionable.
Dan, through the spinies again. Can he get through his own double muncher section? He can. Will he jump on top of the thwomp? He will! Dan, making progress, ties it up. I think he actually has the lead, too. That counts as a lead.
Yeah, I was holding
Austin, I've seen the other side of Andor Landor, and it is tasty, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Mo, oh lady, I've seen.
We've got a close game here. 21 minutes in, and we are almost tied. Dan holds a slight lead.
Served with no pine resin. Here we go.
But here's what matters. Even with both players this close together, who gets that first checkpoint will be so important. And it's going to come down now to who can figure out this final falling thwomp section. It is tougher than it looks. It's much tougher than the first falling thwomp because you have to do 3 in a row and you have to time them out very, not precisely, but you need to space them apart in a way that lets you get the height necessary to jump over the final saw without launching yourself into the saw above you. So as the 3 thwomps fall, you want to have this nice consistent pace. Otherwise, one of those two will happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if both players encounter that issue where Mathis seems to still struggle with this first one. We'll see if Dan can make it back to his original point. But for now, he holds a lead. I don't know how long he'll hold it for, but we will see as both players making their way back to the falling thwomps. Dan took an early death. Mathis back where he needs to be, but just can't quite get there. And he's going too fast. Now he needs to pull himself back a little bit. And a lot of struggle from both these players on section 1. I think the possibility of completing the map is falling away from these two players as they've really hit an early snag. I think an unexpected snag for that matter on this first section. But that's good news for Dan as he has the lead here right now. But he will not hold on to it if he can't get this first checkpoint. By the way, Dan still looking for his first checkpoint of the checkpoint league. He has not gotten a single checkpoint yet. This could be his very first one. We'll look towards that moment as well to see if he can claim that. As Mathis, back to the first falling thwomp. He's been struggling on this, but this seems like a good jump. Now he needs to go. He's taking too much time. He might have it here, though. One more jump, but again, he goes too low. He does take the lead back, though, from Dan. And that'll be another lead for Mathis, but you can see the struggle. He let the thwomps go too low, which means he lost the height necessary to complete the jump. Now, will he make the other mistake? Will he take the jump too high and encounter the ceiling saw? We'll see if he adjusts improperly there. We'll have to see when he makes it back. Dan still hasn't encountered that objective necessarily yet, so we'll see his first reaction to it. But Mathis did pretty all right on it for his first try. Mathis again back to the falling thwomp. His progress is good here, but again, he needs to have a good jump here, but he goes over the third thwomp. I don't think he would have had the height anyway. It's unfortunate for him. Let's take a listen in now as he assesses this obstacle.
He always dies if he hits that.
Got to be careful with the start over strat. You don't want to start over once you're at the second or at a checkpoint. You will start the whole map over.
That's annoying.
Nearly at the halfway point here, and no player has made it to the first checkpoint, as both players have massively struggled with this first section.
I hate that. It's so specific.
Both players regressing a bit here. Mathis. Good progress again. Back to the first falling thwomp.
4, 5, jump. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Good progress. Has a chance. Doesn't get over the song.
Fuck you, dude. What do you want me to do there? How much? Like, what am I supposed to do at that point?
His issue was momentum, I think, there. I think his height was okay, but he wasn't moving to the right fast enough.
That was as high a jump as I could get.
And he's right. That his height was not the problem. It was his momentum. He took a bit too long on that final thwomp and needs to go a bit faster if he wants to make it over. Dan having a lot of struggle now. Can't seem to make it back to the falling thwomps. He has hit a hard pocket of aggression here. We really want to see Dan get that checkpoint. I think everyone's rooting for him. We'll listen in on Dan here as he seems to be struggling again with this first section.
All right. Brain off, ladies and gentlemen. I've disconnected the frontal cortex.
Oh, so close.
All right.
Good jumps here from Dan, though. Whatever strat he seems to be implementing here is making him a bit more consistent. He's back to the falling thwomp.
1, 2. Gotta go, kid.
Oh, just a bit not there. Mathis with another chance here, though.
All right.
I don't understand, dude.
That time he was too low.
What more can I possibly do there?
And that's the issue that some players can encounter. We saw it with Bear last week, but when you don't know what to do, you can feel like your attempts back at that point are futile. And it can the frustration can kind of cloud your judgment. Again, the first time Mathis was there, he had an issue with momentum. The second time he was there, his issue was height. The thwomp sunk too low. And even though his momentum was good on that jump, the thwomp was already too low for him to make the jump. Dan making more progress, though. Onto the final falling thwomp section. Mathis with a chance here, but misses the first jump. But Dan moves his own needle and gets that much closer to Mathis. We are still almost tied here. Mathis with a very, very slight lead. But Dan has the chance here to potentially take the first checkpoint. Both players still struggling with these early jumps. And this is where you'd like to see players kind of understand that they've done these so many times that you know, almost becomes second nature to complete these jumps. But since both players still seem to struggle with these with this first section, it's costing them a lot of time overall. Mathis, though, already back to the falling thwomps. Off of the first one, has a chance here. Let's see if he can do it, but he...
hitting Z. I am hitting Z. Yeah, I know starting over after a checkpoint will make me lose. Don't worry.
And that's the spin jump problem that a lot of players run into, is that if you don't hit the Z button at the exact moment, it will eat your jump. If you watch me clear check these levels.
Jump.
He's got...
I don't
Oh!
understand. I don't
He had it.
understand.
It was so close, but again, momentum was killer.
It seems so goddamn, what's the word I'm looking for? Menial's not the right word. Pointless?
It's unfortunate for him because both times that he had the correct timing and the correct height, he just didn't have the correct speed. And the one time that he had the correct speed, he didn't have the correct height. If he can just correct that one mistake, he will absolutely have it and have his first checkpoint. But a surprising game one here is that 30 minutes into the game, no player has made it to the first checkpoint. Back to the falling thwomps. Another chance for Mathis. The thwomp getting a bit too low, but he's got it!
There we go.
With the speed.
Again, it seems pointless.
Mathis claims checkpoint number 1.
Here we go.
And he now has a significant lead over Dan. We'll see how he does on this first attempt at the thwomp track. Good progress so far, but gets a bit behind there. But now Mathis with the checkpoint lead on Dan is going to have to make some progress here if he wants to catch up to Mathis. This section 2 is not particularly hard. Mathis again going a bit too slow. That jump's a bit tricky. If you feel like you want to take it slow, but that one specific jump that Mathis is now struggling with is a bit quicker than you'd think. So it's important to even though it looks like you might hit the saw, you want to take it quickly here from the third to the second thwomp. So he's got the right idea, he made the adjustment, and he's got good progress here. He does skip a bit too far forward there, gets a little too anxious, and that's that calm you need to have for this section in order to make progress. But I think Mathis still has a shot. It's unlikely, but I think he still has a shot at completing the level. It's going to really depend on his progress through checkpoint 2 here, because he's going to need that time for checkpoint 3. As Dan, back to the spiny, back to the falling thwomps. Can he do it? Not a good jump. Dan definitely falling behind here as Mathis clips the second thwomp, and you can use the second thwomp there if you need to. But it's a bit easier to go from the first thwomp to the third on that jump. We'll see if Mathis makes that adjustment and goes a little bit later as he goes too late there again. Dan still on that first section. But we've seen big comebacks before. I know this map is difficult to make a comeback on, but it is still in range for Dan. Mathis is slowly making his way through the thwomp track, though. But falls into the lava. And it's really going to be the final section of the thwomp track, those big thwomp jumps. How quickly will Mathis get those? Because if he gets those quickly, I think he will extend his lead too far for Dan to catch up. We'll listen on Dan here as he needs to make good progress quickly.
When we got it going, we got it going. When we don't, you may want to return your pay stubs, all right? All right, that's what you're going to get. We're going to pog out here. It's going to take some trust. It's going to take some dialage. But I'm telling you, we're just, I can feel it. I can feel my innards. We're heating up. We're heating up. I'm telling you.
Mathis moving the needle.
We're heating up. Oh.
Making good progress here now. Oh, just misses that third thwomp.
We can do that. That's not hard. That's not hard at all.
Mathis recognizing that this section's pretty easy, but the hardest part of this section is the very end. That series of long jumps is tough to start. Once you've started it, though, it's pretty easy. But Mathis is greatly extending his lead here. Consistency looking good here for Mathis. He's already made it back to where he was before, nearly. Oh, but
I was holding Z. He should have done a tall jump. I don't know why he didn't.
Still struggling with the spin jump. I understand his pain. It is a bit frustrating. Again, that timing of the spin jump, touchy for Super Mario World. Not sure why, but it is very touchy. And if you don't time it perfectly, it will hurt you. Oh, loses his footing there for a second, but recovers. And here we go. This is the jump. Can he first try it? Looks pretty good. Momentum is nice. He's got it going well, but loses momentum on that one.
Slow down. I shouldn't have slowed down.
He might be one series away from very quickly getting to the second checkpoint here. Excellent progress from Mathis, and it's looking really grim for Dan now. Dan needs to hit the checkpoint. He needs to hit it now, but he keeps taking these early deaths.
Every death we're drinking. Every death we're drinking. Every death we're drinking, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't matter if you're from Andor, Landor, or not. We are the microwave in this competition. When you're not using it and it's not hot, you're not concerned about it. But when we get hot, ooh, baby, you better watch out, because we're bringing the hot sauce straight from Minas Tirith.
He
What are we doing?
pulled back.
What are we doing? We're not an anthrocon. Don't jump in the red sauce. Hang in here, boys. Here we go.
Oh, pulls back a little bit too hard there, but he's got it. He's got the tools. He's got the tools that he needs. He's just struggling on the execution. And that's giving Mathis a chance here as he's making his way through the swamp track again. See if he can nail this jump the second time around. Oh.
Uh-oh.
He has
Didn't know if he was gonna stay.
yeah, he has let it
I
go
shouldn't
there.
have waited. I shouldn't have gambled.
Dan
Sorry, though.
has a chance.
I had to know.
Pockets empty. Commitment full. Pockets empty. Commitment full. The pockets were empty.
Oh, he's taking it a bit too slow, but he's
Commitment
making
was
it there.
full. Pockets were empty.
And Dan can do it here. He can get to this checkpoint. Can he recover the lost distance is to be seen, but we want Dan to get that checkpoint. Again, even if he doesn't win, getting that first checkpoint will be hopefully enough of a confidence booster moving forward for him, as he has not gotten one yet. Mathis again into the swamp tunnel, but into the lava. Actually hit the side of the parachute swamp there, I think. Mathis slowing down a bit, was making good progress, but has kind of hit a bit of regression on the second section. I don't think it'll last too long, though, as Dan is back to the falling swamp section. Has done well in this first one. Oh, he jumps into the ceiling.
Musk launched us into the ether without Spaceball 1.
I don't know what that means, but I don't think he does either. All right, Mathis back in. And this is actually an issue for Mathis, is that deaths on the second section take a lot of time to regain time. Like when you die here, you have to go back, and it's a bit of a slow section, so it matters for two things. One, it gives Dan at least some kind of chance to catch back up. But also, Mathis wants to beat this level. Again, for tiebreaker purposes, beating the level matters. So Mathis does want to, even though he's in the lead, and pretty sizable lead with that, he still wants to make progress and try to beat the level in the next 22 minutes. And he's got another chance here, but he doesn't get the jump. I imagine he's saying right now that he hit Z, but Mario Maker disagrees. And he's back into the tunnel again, and more time down the drain as he has to follow this slow track through. And he takes another death. Dan, back to the single spiny. Good progress through it. Back to the falling thwomps.
1, 2. Yeet my shoe. 7, 8. We're gonna be late. 9, 10. Don't do it to me again. We gotta go. Or we're just out here playing pogs without a slammer. No, we got a stack of pogs. We got no slammer. We gotta find a slammer inside of Minas Tirith. We gotta find the old guard key, ladies and gentlemen. When we find the old guard key, you take it up to things betwixt. Then you unlock it.
No, I understand.
All right. This is the run right here. Get your microwaves turned on, ladies and gentlemen. Set it. Set your microwaves for 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Put a bag of popcorn in there. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Hey, I don't think you can do
I'll get
that.
in trouble. Don't do that. But metaphorically speaking, that's what we're doing to our play right here. No commitment. No commitment.
Dan still close to that first checkpoint. Mathis kind of surprisingly, I think he's done the same thing he did last week, where he had a really good run, got very close to the checkpoint, and can't seem to repeat it. Struggling to get back to that point. He is getting closer now, but falling a bit behind on the thwomps. Catches back up, though, and he has another chance here. Oh!
I hit it. Yeah, deaths on auto-scroller is just like time wasted that I don't have control over, unfortunately.
And he knows the time is being taken away from him here by the auto-scroll nature.
Man, that is so, like, beyond frustrating. I'm not changing.
And that's going to be something that players are going to need to get a hold over, because there are more spin jump maps in the future. And there are definitely more difficult spin jump maps than this one. 3-6, an upcoming spin jump map. 3-10, an upcoming spin jump map. As well as 3-1, maybe the most difficult upcoming spin jump map. So players are going to need to get that timing down, because the more often it happens to them, the less progress they'll make on these maps. And that can be a very annoying issue. As you can see, Math is getting a little frustrated here. And as we approach the 3/4 mark of this race, Dan still surprisingly with a chance here. He has, like, if he can get this right now.
Why do we wait so long? Because we don't need to.
Oh, that could have been it.
So long. We don't need it. You don't gotta need it. You just need the dough, and then gnocchi makes itself.
Dan is so close. That may have been his last chance to get back in for a chance at the lead, but we don't know. We don't know how he'll fare in the second section here, as Mathis is kind of pulling a Jasky here, you know, from last week. Gets to the second checkpoint, makes some good progress, but then struggles greatly and gives the other competitor a chance back in. But this time round, there's less time available for Dan. Justin had a lot of time to make his comeback. Jasky got that first checkpoint at around 16 minutes, whereas Mathis got this checkpoint around 30, I want to say 35 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. So there's a lot less time for Dan to make the comeback. But as long as Mathis remains on this second section, it's viable for Dan for the next, I want to say 5 minutes or so. But overall, it's going to be tough. Mathis, you can see the frustration building. His chances for beating the map have kind of gotten away from him here, as he is greatly struggling now. And the frustration is building, and Dan still can't seem to get back to those falling thwomps. We'll see what Mathis thinks here.
You hear me, Apollo?
I didn't, but
I don't want to do the auto-scroller. It's boring.
then you gotta beat it. Good progress here.
This sucks.
Dan with the positioning.
He heard. That's right. You hear me, Apollo? This is boring. Auto-scrollers suck. I don't have control over my own speed. Hurry up and wait, mechanics. How many times must I hold Z for it to do a tall jump regularly?
And this is, I mean, I think Mathis is a bit lucky here. If he had any other opponent right now, I think he would have been passed more than likely. The struggle on the auto-scroll section. And to be fair to him, I agree with him. I think auto-scroll sections are annoying and frustrating. That being said, I do think since this is an easier auto scroll section, and because the camera itself doesn't auto scroll, it's just the map itself that does it. I don't think it's as bad, but that's my own opinion. I understand some players still don't appreciate it very much. Mathis with a chance here. Let's see if he can nail the jump. He could have another checkpoint. Oh, doesn't get it. Didn't have a full jump there. Not sure if he mistimed the button press or just didn't full jump. But now 15 minutes remaining. Things are looking very dire for Dan, unfortunately. Even though Mathis has struggled, Dan has also struggled. He's gotten back to the falling thwomps. We can listen in here. Oh!
Can we get radio silence mode, ladies and gentlemen? Can we dot space spam in chat? We're going radio silent here. Radio silent, ladies and gentlemen. We're going hotly radio silent. I got all we got. Three minutes, no nonsense. 3 minutes. I'm just telling you, 3 minutes, no nonsense. We want to win this thing. You want to win. Put 1985 Daniel in. He's not talking to the TV. He's quiet as a mouse. He's not saying a single word.
He is saying a lot of words, though. It is looking to, oh wow, amazing recovery by Mathis there. That was something special. But he loses it there. That was a beautiful recovery, but I've noticed with a lot of Mario Maker stuff, when you do something impressive and recover a jump, you usually follow it up with a quick death, at least in my experience. Dan with a chance here, clips the saw again. I think this is Dan trying to be radio silent. Mathis with good progress again. Hits the top of the thwomp, I think. Oh, he recovers it, though. Oh, does a full jump, though. Just hits the ceiling saws. And Dan has a chance here. No, he misses the thwomp. And I think Dan's chances are slipping away here now with 12 minutes left. It's looking like Mathis is locking this one up. But I think still overall, Mathis, even though he might be claiming a win here, not the best performance we've seen from him so far. The spin jump seemed to be not meshing well with his style of play. And we're seeing his first issue with frustration, I think. You know, last week we saw lots of positivity, and I think this week he's gotten a bit frustrated with the map, and that's cost him a lot of progress overall, especially on the second section here. If there's one thing we want to see, though, we want to see Dan get that checkpoint. At the very least, we want to see him get that checkpoint. He's got 11 minutes to do it. It is extremely possible all the way up to the last minute he will have a chance here. Let's listen in. You can tell he's very much focusing right now.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've tried silent strats. We've tried muted strats. We've tried...
Mathis on a good run here. He's got a chance. He's got a chance! Oh!
There's the momentum problem again. I don't know what I need for momentum there.
That one hurt.
Such a long haul.
That one hurt. He was, I gotta say, like a pixel away from that one. I thought he had it for sure. He was so close. But he let up on his speed just a bit at some point. And that cost him the run there. With less than 10 minutes, both players approaching different checkpoints. We can pretty comfortably probably give Mathis the win at this point. I would say that it's almost impossible now for Dan to catch back up. He would have to have a very quick checkpoint in the next couple of minutes and then an absolutely flawless run through the thwomps, which is just not very likely. So that aside, Mathis will more than likely take the win here, but we want to see if either player can get their checkpoints for progress. Mathis with another shot here. Looking pretty good. Will he get this first jump? He's got it!
Let's go.
Mathis with another checkpoint onto the final section. You know, there's an outside shot he could beat this. With 8.5 minutes left.
It's not hard. It's just, I didn't want to do it anymore.
He seems to be confused as to what he's supposed to do here. But he's reset the objective, and I think he understands now that he must go up through those thwomps, and he did. You can see the motion there. I think he understands. There's an outside shot here. There is an outside shot. This is a short section. He's only got 8 minutes, but it's possible. Dan, on the other hand, we want to see him get that first checkpoint. He needs, if he doesn't get the checkpoint here, it's looking bad for him in terms of the rest of the competition. Math is making pretty quick progress, understanding what he needs to do. I think he's going to be very frustrated that there's going to be another track section.
Oh, okay.
But very good progress from him.
That's not that bad at all. I have to do it all in one. How much time we got? Like 5 minutes? 10 minutes? Maybe at most?
Dan with a chance here. He's just not getting the mid jumps.
All we ask for quality ABs. Quality ABs. Quality ABs. Some quality ABs.
I think Dan talking about at-bats, the baseball term, which essentially means
ABs.
attempts.
That's not quality ABs. All right, here we go. Little rip, kid. Little rip. Sometimes you gotta mix it up. Sometimes you gotta mix it up. That's exactly where we go.
I think he's pulling out the lonely trout, man. Mathis making some good progress still, but very low on time now. Oh. Some Castlevania music.
Rip it and rip it, kid. Got a Ludicar spam in chat if you believe, ladies and gentlemen. Ludicar. Ludicar. We can do this.
We'll bring Dan down a bit here as he's still attempting to get that first checkpoint. Bringing in the hype music. We'll listen on Mathis
Bounce one short hop on
as he's figuring out these final jumps here. Still a chance to beat the level 2. It's not very likely, but there is a chance.
Or, you know, I'm wrong.
With 5 minutes left.
The timing is super awkward. It's because of the parachute.
Dan, another full jump death. They have been killer for him. Mathis with a little strat here. Good progress. These are big jumps. Oh, he clips the spike
That's
trap.
actually not bad.
And he realizes that he's actually got some easy objectives here. That's the second to last section. He has a chance here if he can get a huge burst of consistency. And he has a good strat here that's actually working out. If he can just execute, Mathis has a chance at being our first level completion with 4 minutes remaining. Can't have deaths like those, though. Dan still struggling early.
So, you see how I jumped almost all the way? I don't know why it stopped. I didn't let go of Z.
Dan
So
with another
that's the part
chance. Oh,
that
another
confuses
full
me
jump.
when it comes to this stuff.
And Mathis just taking some unfortunate execution deaths here as he's got the timing down very well. He has a strat that's better than the strat that I used on the map even, it seems.
Why, Mathis, pay attention, homie.
But with 3 minutes left, he's got to potentially sight read the last section.
I couldn't even see myself when I got hit by that spike, apparently.
Daniel running on his last few attempts here.
Whoa, why did I double jump?
Mathis hitting the side of the thwomp there. A known Mario Maker quirk. Daniel. Oh,
If that auto-scroller wasn't here.
That's hard, man.
We'd probably already be done with the level.
unfortunate. So many deaths in a row to those full jumps. He's just holding the button for too long. Oh, an extra jump.
Why? I will shout at you, controller. Why are you not working?
It's not the controller. I've had the same frustrations. It is just the awkward timing of spin jumps in Mario Maker. All right, another chance here. Full jump, full jump. He's got the timing. He's 2 jumps away, 1 jump away. Oh, he doesn't go over. He does a mid jump. He does a mid jump with only 2 minutes left. The end of the level is in sight for Mathis, but he's just not quite there. He has to get back there immediately.
I held long jump. See, it worked that time, though. It worked that time. I was holding Z, and it actually long jumped me.
We'll listen in on his last 2 minutes of attempts here. We'll jump to Dan if he gets close. But Mathis, he has a chance. He has one final chance, I want to say, if he gets there. With 2 perfect runs, I could see him have a couple. But his timing's a bit rough here. Yeah, he hits the saw. 1.5 minutes
Time
remaining.
chat.
He most certainly will go forward with a win here and move to 2-1. But he wants that win in his books.
And,
Misses the saw there, or excuse me, the
1
thwomp.
minute. All right, it's over. It's over. No beating it. That's all right.
He doesn't, he calls it over, but he has a chance here. With 1 minute left, I want to say 2 more attempts is probably all that he has. Unfortunate. Dan, on his maybe second to last attempt here. He's making good progress. He has a chance. Will we get the checkpoint at the last moment? No, he falls in. Mathis on a good run here. Has a chance. 30 seconds left. This is probably going to be his last chance now. Oh, he doesn't jump.
Nope, it's over, chat. It's over. It's
30
it's fine,
seconds.
it's
I think he
fine.
might
It was a
have
good
one more
run.
if he goes quick.
I'm a bit bummed we didn't beat it, but
Dan, that'll probably be it for him. Mathis, 20 seconds left. He has time. This is it. It's do or die. 15 seconds left. Mathis has a chance. 11 seconds. It's gonna come down to the final jump. He's going over. 7 seconds. He hits the saw. Oh,
right there. I didn't realize that was the end.
that could have been it. But with 1 hour there, oh, it came down to the last second for Mathis. That couldn't have been closer. But that'll be it. Let's go ahead and jump in with Dan really quick here. Daniel.
Yo.
Hey man, it looked like it was a tough run for you there. But
Yep.
what was your most struggling part with that first section?
This one is the one that gets me, because last week it was like, all right, hey, look, I got a better chance of riding my bike to Mars. This one I felt like I got the tools in the kit, and I just I choked a little bit. And I feel like this was a really fun map, and I think I'm noticing a pattern in how I'm competing. Jump out to a nice hordy lead, and then kind of the wheels fall off. So in the off season this next week, I'm going to take a look at how we can work on our durability, our endurance, our longevity, and also with the commitment to proper hydration, and really just taking a look at this game tape, because at the end of the day, Mathis is a good ball player. We can't come out here and this. I feel like when you were designing levels, I'm like, all right, I kind of weighted this one for Daniel, and for me, to let that opportunity slide by, it's something I don't take lightly. But at the same time, we all got ball players, and you get a cover 4 safety, you got to run 4 verticals. You can't run the check down. When you're running sets in PUBG, you got Melf calling out left, Austin calling out right. You got to be able to look north and south. At the same time, when you're playing Mario, you can also be Luigi, you can also be Toad, but if someone's Bowser, you better pay attention. At the same time, if you're playing Doom, you got a shotgun, you got a SMG, you got the BFG. You got to know what weapons to pull out at the right time. You're playing Ultima Online, you're going to be a Smith, you're going to be a Tinkerer, you're going to be a Blacksmith. What are you going to do?
I understand completely.
That's what we need to figure out.
Hopefully, maybe you can get a little bit more practice in and come back next week. And hey, every week's a new week.
That's right. Hey, good level, man.
I appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
All right, later.
Mathis.
Yo!
You were so close.
I know. I beat it seconds after you jumped into Dan's room.
Yeah, literally, I think you were about 1 minute off there of the 1 hour timer.
Oh, God, auto-scrollers suck!
Luckily, there's I think only one or two more in the whole of the.
I muted you. Whoops, my bad. There you go.
In the whole of the tournament, I think there's only a couple more, but you did good. I mean, nearly a level completion. It was came down to the wire, but either way, you come away with another win.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah,
I'll be back next week.
Absolutely. We'll see you then.
Have a good one.
All right. That is going to be game number 1. The win will go to Mathis. We congratulate him on moving up to 2-1. Unfortunately for Dan, he does fall to 0-3 in the league. Still no win for him. But we have other players waiting in the wings here. We're going to go ahead and start